Good evening. I'd like to welcome each of you to tonight's meeting, to the September the 6th, 2022 school board meeting. At this time, we will go into our trim meeting. Again, I would like to welcome each of you. The trim meeting is officially called to order. We will proceed with the presentation of the final millage for adoption.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Tonight we come before you for the final public hearing and the adoption of the final millage and budget. We're asking you to read and consider the resolution for the taxing authority of Madison County and the total millage rate to be levied at 5.454 more than the rollback rate, which exceeds the rollback rate by 5.65%. The required local effort is 3.206. The discretionary effort is 0.748. The capital outlay is 0.5, which gives you a total millage rate of 5.454, which is effective from July 22 to June 30th, 2023. And the amount of the total budget is $41,931,148.73 for the 22-23 school year. And I would ask that the board chair please read the resolution, and then we open it up for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2303 of the District School Board of Madison County, Florida, determining the amount of revenues to be produced and the millage to be levied for the general fund, for the district local capital improvement fund, and for the district debt service funds for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2022 and ending June the 30th, 2023. Whereas Section 1011.04 Florida statutes require that upon receipt of the certificate of property appraiser giving the assessed valuation of the county and of each of the special tax school districts, the school board shall determine by resolution the amount necessary to be raised for current operating purposes and for debt service funds, and the millage to be levied for each such fund, including the voted millage. And whereas 1011.7 Florida statute provides for the amount necessary to be raised for local capital improvement outlay and the millage to be levied, and whereas the certificate of the property appraiser has been received. Therefore, be it resolved by the school board that the amounts necessary to be raised, as shown by the officially adopted budget, and the millages necessary to be levied for each school fund of the district for the fiscal year are as followed. The district school tax non-voted levy. Okay, for the first one, the description of the levy, the required local effort, the amount to be raised is $3,171,002. The millage levied is 3.2060 mills. Is there a motion to for the required local effort?
I'll make the motion to approve the required local effort at 3.2060 mills.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, the next item, the total required millage is 3.2060 mills. Is there a motion to approve the total required millage of 3.2060 mills, which will be $3,171,002? Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the total required millage of 3.2060 mills.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? All those in favor, show a hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, 2, the district school tax discretionary millage. The district, the discretionary operating, the millage levy is 0.7480 mills, and the amount raised is $739,835. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the district school tax discretionary millage of 0.7480 mills.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Bell. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the discretionary operating millage of 0.7480 mills. Okay, number 3, the district school tax additional millage is the local capital improvement is 1.5000 mills, and the amount raised is $1,483,625. Is there a motion to approve the local capital improvement?
I'll make the motion to approve the district local capital improvement at 1.500 mills.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by, who seconded? Ms. Gibson. Okay, but seconded by Ms. Gibson. It was properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, the total millage rate to be levied exceeds the rollback rate computed pursuant to section 200.065 Florida statute by 5.65%. Okay. And we need a motion to approve. I don't see that. The superintendent's budget.
That's on the very last page.
Okay.
That's page.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I will go to it here. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's final budget of $41,931,148.73?
I'll make the motion to approve to adopt the superintendent's final budget for the fiscal year of July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023 of $41,931,148.73 for a millage rate of 5.454.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the final budget. Final superintendent's budget for the 2022-2023 school year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the trim meeting will be adjourned and we will go to our regular scheduled board meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the trim meeting?
I move to adjourn the trim meeting.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. All those in favor of adjournment, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, to adjourn the trim meeting, and we're going into the regular school board meeting. Okay, get this. Just a moment, please. Again, I would like to welcome each of you to tonight's meeting, September the 6th, 2022 school board meeting. At this time, if everyone would please stand for a moment of silence, and then we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome to tonight's meeting. The school board meeting is officially called to order. The school board meeting is an advertised meeting held in the public, not a public meeting. We have an established advertised agenda that will be followed. Anyone wishing to address the school board may do so during the public input section of the meeting. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. The sign-in sheet to speak during public input is on the table to the left as you enter the boardroom. Please sign in if you wish to speak. Tonight's meeting is being recorded. Our school board minutes are being recorded this evening by Ms. Bishop, the confidential secretary and secretary of the superintendent. Board members present are Ms. Williamson, Mr. Carroll, Ms. Gibson, and Ms. Bell, myself, and Mr. Reeves, our attorney. And the superintendent is present, Ms. Joseph, of course.
Thank you.
And again, just a reminder, this is being recorded. It's on Facebook Live for anyone in the audience who didn't know that, or anyone in the community. So at this time, is there anyone for public input? Okay, let me go back just for a second. There's going to be an amendment to the agenda. There's going to be an addition to 5.13. It's a memorandum of understanding with Greenville Elementary School, Pinetta Elementary School, and Madison County Central with the union concerning extra planning. We'll go over it when we get to 5.13, but there is an amendment. There's a 5.13, a memorandum of understanding that's being added under individual consent. So if there's no public input, Okay, at this time we will proceed with the consent items. 4.1 would be the minutes from August the 15th, 2022 school board meeting. 4.2 is a memorandum of understanding with the Boys and Girls Club of Tabula Rosa for the 2022-2023 year of operation agreement. It begins August of 2022, and the last day of school and it concludes the last day of school of May 2023. This Boys and Girls Club will be included at Madison County Central, Greenville Elementary, Lee Elementary, Pinetta Elementary, and it would be Monday through Friday. The hours of operation is 3 through 6. 4.3 is an adult ed contract with Sharon Fletcher, Miss Sharon Fletcher. It's 12 hours a week, beginning July the 1st of 2022 through June the 30th, 2023. 4.4 is the assessment calendar for the 2022-2023 school year. It's all the different dates of when assessments will be given within the district. 4.5 is Title II Part A grant. The current amount for the grant is $107,914. The roll forward amount is $10,791, with the total project equaling $118,705. 4.6 is a NEFEC Professional Learning Catalog, formerly known as the Master In-Service Plan for the teachers within the district. 4.7 is a contract with Crystal Baker for mental health services for August the 30th, 2022 through June the 30th, 2023. The contract may be terminated at 30-day notice on both sides. Could contract is for $50 an hour, not to exceed $63,000 per year for the fiscal year, and it shall be billed monthly. 4.8 is an agreement with the Disc Village Incorporated. It's for one full mental health wellness specialist to provide prevention counseling. 4.9 is a digital Bell website hosting contract, and it's 4.122 is, or, I'm sorry, 7.122 is when it initiates. It's for 7 websites. A year subscription is for $4,500, 2 years, $36.60, 3 years, $32.40, and it's a redesign fee in year 2 of $980, and that's for the district websites for the different schools. 4.10 is fundraisers. The first fundraiser is the FFA at the high school is hosting a cornhole tournament September the 30th, 2022 at 2 p.m. It's $20 a team or $10 a person. The Madison County Central School cheerleaders are sponsoring a t-shirt sale, 8/29 through 9/9. The Madison County Central School cheerleaders are sponsoring a car wash, September the 24th, 2022. Madison County Central School cheerleaders are sponsoring a Spare a Dollar, August the 29th through 9/30, excuse me. Pinella Elementary School is sponsoring Pack the Piggies, which is a coin drive to raise money. Okay, that concludes the 4.10 fundraisers. 4.11 is an agreement with the Madison Youth Ranch for counseling. It's a memorandum of understanding for August the 10th, 2022 to provide in-school therapy service to residents of the Madison Youth Ranch. It will occur at Pinetta Elementary, Madison County Central, and Madison County High School. The sessions are during non-academic classes. 4.12 is a contract with North Florida Child Development Head Start for the Madison and Greenville centers. 4.13 is an articulation agreement with River Oak Technical College in Live Oak, Florida, for career dual enrollment. They offer a lot of dual enrollment classes that maybe our students would have an interest in on the technical side. And that concludes the items of consent. Are there any questions concerning any of the items?
Let me ask you something about this, let me find it, Digital Bell web site. Can you just give me a little bit more information on it?
It's the provider that hosts all of our district and school websites. It's a new 3-year contract. We're at the end of our contract period, so it's just a renewal contract.
Oh, it's a renewal, so we've been doing this, right?
Yeah, it's the same company we've used for 3 or 4 years at least.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then on 4.11, the agreement with Madison Youth Ranch, that was for the residents of the youth ranch. That's what you,
Yes, and they're going to provide counseling on our campus, and they need an agreement to be able to come on our campus and do
okay,
that.
for those residents?
Yes, it says no fee to us and no fee to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, is there a motion to approve the consent items?
I move to approve the consent items.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Is there any further discussion? There's no further discussion. All those in favor of the consent items, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of consent items. Okay, under individual consent items, the first item, 5.1, is field trips. We have the Beta Club officers to the Beta Leadership Summit in LaGrange, Georgia at the Great Wolf Lodge, October the 23rd through October the 25th. They will be attending. So is there a motion to approve the Beta Club officers to the Leadership Summit in LaGrange, Georgia?
I move to approve the field trips.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any further discussion? There's no further discussion. All those in favor, show of hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. 5.2, staff travel. The first staff trip is the FAEDS, September the 19th through September the 21st in Orlando, Florida. It's through Title II. It's a federal program. The cost is around $1,000, and Mr. Goyette's will be attending. Number 2 is the FASF EPA / ECTAC Fall Forum. That's a lot of abbreviations. In Tampa, Florida, September the 11th through September the 14th. It's Title I, Part A. The cost is around $800. Ms. Howard will be attending. It's the annual Fall Technical Advisory Meeting for the state and federal program office. It provides the latest information from the FLDOE concerning grant applications, legislative, and budget. So those are the staff travel. Is there a motion to approve the staff travel?
I made a motion to approve the staff travel.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? There's no discussion. It was properly moved by Ms. Bell, seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of staff travel. 5.3 is personnel changes. Mr. Killingsworth.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have this evening three positions that we're asking for your approval for instructional employees, one at Greenville, one at the high school bridge, and then one at Central. We also have three non-instructional recommendations that we would also ask for your approval. That again, two of them are district, but one of them, the middle one is placed based on the needs of where it is for the year. Last year that was high school, however this year it will be Greenville. And then the last one is a position at Central. And then we have two transfers that are happening. And then unfortunately, we have a few that are under the resignation termination aspect that I ask for y'all's approval.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the personnel?
I made a motion to approve the personnel changes.
Okay, it's properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion?
I'm happy to see that we filled our positions.
Well, we still
Are we all
we
filled?
still have three that we're working
Oh, three, okay.
because of some shuffle.
Shuffle.
The ones
Say
the ones that on the resignation, we done fill their spots too?
Well, we hadn't filled them yet because we kind of got to get them out before we can backfill them, so to speak. But we will.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
So how many
Been
total do
interesting.
we have open now? Three? Still three?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's properly moved by Ms. Bell, seconded by Ms. Williamson. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of personnel changes. Okay, the next item, school volunteers, Mr. Killingsworth.
Yes, sir. As you can see, we have a list of like 1.5 pages, double columns of those under the volunteer that I'm asking for y'all's approval.
We'll go back. Let's do the
Substitute.
but before we move on to the volunteers, we inadvertently
The three substitutes.
left off the
Okay.
substitute bus driver and bus monitor. But would that be included already in the personnel, or?
He read the other one and didn't read that one, so it's not included.
Okay, let's go back to the personnel, and we're going to make an addition to approve the substitute teachers, bus drivers, and bus monitors. There's a Tawanisha Baynard's, Tawana Baynard, a substitute bus driver, Clarence Jackson, a substitute custodian, and Lillian McGee, a substitute bus monitor. Is there a motion to approve these individuals for a substitute bus driver or substitute custodian or substitute bus monitor?
I made the motion to approve the substitute bus driver, sub custodian, and sub bus monitor.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Carroll. Okay, any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the substitute bus driver, substitute custodian, and substitute bus monitor, in the addition to the personnel. Okay, sorry about that. Back to the school volunteers. Mr. Killingsworth.
Yes, sir, and again, I apologize for omitting those three. Like I said, you've got 2 columns on the front page, and on the back page, you've got about a quarter, 2 columns of volunteers throughout the district that we're requesting your approval for.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the school volunteers?
I'll make the motion to approve the school volunteers.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion?
One of them my grandson now, so I don't know.
Don't tell how old you are.
Yeah,
They're not getting paid.
yeah,
He's not getting paid.
It's not a.
yeah. I would,
Now,
I would probably, I wouldn't think that would be a conflict for an unpaid volunteer position.
Well, he is being paid in the supplement, so I don't know that,
Not on this
But
page.
that's not under the
okay, you don't have to.
That's a different position.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay. Okay, so, it was properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the school volunteers. Okay, 5.5 is the supplemental positions.
We have 2 different ones. One is the high school and one is the central school. So the statement before, the high school position is the one that would, for lack of a better words, have conflict. The central, I don't see that. I don't think you can do any of them. So I think it's just the high school and
One
that,
at the high school too. Jeremy.
that has a couple.
yeah. Got one in high school and
Okay,
And he's there too.
So, Mr. Chairman, probably the best thing to do would be to have a motion, a second, and a vote on everyone but the conflict, and then y'all can have a motion, a second, and vote on the conflict with you abstaining.
Good.
okay. So you see, we have the Madison County High School supplemental list and the Madison County Central School. We're voting on both supplemental lists. Are there any questions concerning either list?
Well, I wanted to ask one question. What does it, on one of them it says,
1 month only?
yes, what's that mean?
Okay, 1 month only means that that person only did it for 1 month, and then they
I got you.
So
I
if
got
your
you.
supplement, so to speak, is split up over 12, we're just asking it to be,
I got you.
uh,
I thought that's what it
1/12 of so
was.
to
I
speak.
just wanted to make sure. But I thought that's what.
Because there's actually 3 that are on the central school,
Yeah.
about middle ways down.
Frankie, will you be voting on this with your sign on it?
No, I won't. They're gonna
No,
do,
they
they're
can do
gonna
it
do
sometime.
that different, I think.
Okay, these, make note that these are both academic supplements and extracurricular supplements
Yes, sir.
are included. Okay, the first one we will vote on will be all the ones excluding the 2 for Mr. Carroll. So we will vote on all the people on the supplemental list excluding Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll will be the 2 not included in the first vote. So Mr. Carroll can vote on all the people on the supplemental list for both Madison County High School and Central School. So is there a motion to approve the supplemental list excluding Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll?
I move to approve the supplemental positions excluding Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? There is no discussion. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the supplemental list excluding Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll. Okay, now we would like to, is there a motion to approve Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll to the supplemental list?
I'll make the motion to approve Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll to our supplement list.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell.
And then, Mr. Carroll, you need to announce publicly the nature of the conflict.
Yeah, I will abstain from voting on this because that's my son and grandson.
Okay. And then, Mr. Carroll, you have to fill out a form once you do that, and Ms. Becky can help you with that. It gets
Okay.
filed with supervisor election.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Bell, to approve Jeremy Carroll and Ashton Carroll in the supplemental list. Mr. Carroll is abstaining. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 4-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Mr. Carroll is abstaining. Okay, Okay, the next item, 5.6, permission to advertise policy revisions. It's policy 6320, purchase and contract for commodities and contractual services. Policy 6610, school internal accounts. And policy 7450, property inventory. Are there any questions or comments?
We just changing language? What?
Basically, it's changing a dollar amount to get more in line with state regulations as to what we've had. That's all that it is.
I got you.
Well, the first one concerning the commodities is you're upping the price for the amount that the superintendent's able to enter into contractual services.
Correct.
From 5 to 25,000, 5,000 to 25,000.
Correct, on page 7.
Five.
A and B and C, well, C is board approval. Emergency purchases, no greater than 25, and then the superintendent, no greater than 25.
Which I will say that Ms. Joseph brings stuff before us, so we don't, I don't feel we have to worry about that. At one time, we were at a lot lower than 5,000 of what we had to approve. So in the next item,
But let me know that in that policy, even though I will be able to approve things over than 25, down below it states anything over 10,000, I still will inform you. So you will be informed.
6610, policy 6610, is competitive bidding is encouraged whenever practical. However, no purchases may be made by a school amounting to over $1,000, including a series of group purchases, except through obtaining, it was 3 or more written quotes. That's been striked, and it's 2 quotes based upon definite specifications in the same manner as used by the purchasing department, except when advanced individual orders are taken from student, staff, or patrons. Quotes shall be required. Items purchased on consignment need not be bid. Competitive bidding is required for expenditures over $10,000.
That is correct.
And then the last one is property inventory, and I think that is,
17 to 1,500.
yeah, from
$750,
$750 to $1,500 or more is listed in the property, the value or cost.
And on the back, as far as the inventory, instead of every 2 years, it's going to be annual.
And I want to think this was something we were, Auditor General had some concerns about, was our inventory.
Yes, and we are still working on correcting that.
So instead of doing the inventory once every 2 years, it'll be annually. So you would maybe have an idea of when something maybe went missing, if it went missing versus the 2 years. Okay, are there any questions concerning the policy revisions?
So why did we go from, why did you want to go, or have we done this?
Why do we want to change?
Change the 3 bids to 2, because you can't get none?
Well, a lot of them, you're having difficulty getting 3 bids. Sometimes you have difficulty getting 2, depending upon what it is.
Right.
I mean, the more simplistic thing, yeah, you can get 3, 4, 5, but some of the other ones, it's difficult to get to. And then not only that, but get them back in a timely manner. And then when you're talking about the money, with the way things are and some of the stuff they get, I mean, they'll eat up a chunk of money real quick. So we will steady be back having to ask you and ask you and ask you, where under this policy, we would be able to go ahead and start pursuing it. Because sometimes if you're not careful, if you, I don't want to say drag your feet, but if it takes a little while to get through the steps,
Right,
they basically, pull out.
I got you.
Okay, is there a motion to advertise the policy revisions?
I move to approve to advertise the policy revisions, policy 6610, 7450, and 6320.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Carroll, any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor of the permission to advertise the policy revisions, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, to approve the advertisement of the policy revisions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 5.17 is 5.17 is we're recommending Ms. Moore for the hospital homebound instructor for the 2022-23 school year. And this is paid 100% out of the general fund. Is there a motion to approve Ms. Moore as a hospital homebound instructor?
I move to approve Ms. Moore as the hospital homebound instructor.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. Okay, 5.8, the MTSS review, Ms. Joseph.
Okay, Ms. Hill is going to come forth and give you an MTSS review. This is part of our new discipline process, and we want you to know how it's going. So when parents call you, we want you to know what groundwork we have done before we get down to certain things.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We've been working the last 4 or 5 years on trying to get our MTSS, our multi-tiered system of student support, really going in all facets of the students' lives. So the first part that we focused on was academic performance. And that was going all the way back to, I don't know, probably even more than 5 years ago, where we started putting interventions in place for students who were struggling academically. We have a process where teachers identify through student performance areas where the students are struggling. They put interventions into place to help the students. We go through a process of documenting the interventions, having a timetable, and then going back and evaluating the interventions to see if they are working. And that's a constant process for the students. It happens over and over and over again. And so after we've tried, 4 or 5 different interventions, if a student is still struggling, then we have the documentation we need to say there's something else going on here. Perhaps we need some type of testing. or, you know, a change of placement somehow. We've been doing that, you know, like I said, for over 5 years with academics. We finally moved toward our attendance being part of our MTSS process this past school year. And so we really focused on meeting with parents, discussing attendance, looking at the number of days, trying to find the causes for students not coming to school, trying to put some interventions into place, following up with, you know, a sit meeting to make sure that the student is improving, and then following that up if students weren't improving with, you know, turning it over to community resources that could help us get students to school. And part of that, you know, could have been the Department of Children's and Families, it could have been the court system or whatever. But we had a process that we put in place, and we really refined it last year. We worked really hard on it and feel like we have that process down now. And so this year, we moved to behavior. So we had already addressed academics, we've addressed attendance, and this year it's behavior. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is not only help students but help teachers understand that we have to put interventions into place in the classroom for students who are having behavior problems. And so because we have to teach the students how to behave in a classroom setting. And so it just kind of jumped out at us, especially after students had been out of school because of COVID. And we had some students coming back to us who had been out for a year and almost a half, not been in a structured classroom situation, and they really struggled when we put them back into a classroom and expected them to fall right back into norms that they weren't used to anymore. So we really wanted to work with teachers and put a system in place where, you know, we can divide the behaviors up and really look at the behaviors that need interventions and make sure we train teachers on providing those interventions. And so this past summer, we contracted with a group to come in and really work with us on, first of all, setting Tier 1 behavior expectations. And Tier 1 behavior expectations are the normal expectations for all students. Making sure that teachers helped students understand what those expectations were when they first came back to school. And so it's a process of not just having the expectations, but teaching the expectations to the students. After you teach the expectations to the students and you practice those classroom expectations, then when students start struggling with behavior, then we have to move to Tier 2. And those are the behaviors that we've tried various classroom interventions and they've not worked. And I'll just give you an example. You have a student that throws temper tantrums when they don't get their way. You know, the first time it happens, that's a Tier 1 behavior. The teacher explains to the student why that behavior is not acceptable and puts some type of intervention into place. It could be, you know, come up with a system so that that student is rewarded when they don't, you know, throw a temper tantrum when they don't get their way, or put some other things into place. Like I said, once we put some things into place and that hasn't helped, then we move to Tier 2. And this year, we, especially for the central school, we decided to make one of the deans a behavior specialist because we needed someone who could go in to work with teachers, work with students to create a behavior plan that would help address the behaviors that needed to be changed. And so We have that behavior specialist. That person, first couple weeks of school here has been going through some training and, trying to make sure that we have a process that's in place for working with those teachers and students. And then those behaviors that we've tried, classroom interventions, we've tried the behavior specialists working with the students, and those behaviors still haven't changed, then we have to move to tier 3, and those are the most severe. And so at that point, then we start looking at, things the school can put into place. It could be alternative placement, it could be community education. There are a number of different things that the school can put into place to try to better serve the student and not allow the student to hinder the education of other students. And so we've moved into those tiered groups so that we're consistent with what we're doing with academics and what we're doing with attendance. Now we've got those tiers for behavior so that when we're talking with parents, they are beginning to understand when my child is tier 1, they don't need any extra support beyond just normal everyday things. When my child moves to tier 2, then there's going to be some extra support provided to my child. And then tier 3, it's serious, and we have to make a change for my child to be successful at school. And so we wanted to give you an explanation of what we're doing there because that changed our student code of conduct so that those classroom interventions have to be put into place before students move to the discipline grid. Now, there are some things where the students would automatically fall on the discipline grid. They get in, a knockdown, drag-out fight. That's not something that you put classroom interventions into place for. That is a behavior that has to be dealt with right then by an administrator. But we did differentiate classroom behaviors from the more serious ones. And for those classroom behaviors, teachers have to document their interventions before a student can receive a school referral. So, any questions for me on that?
I was just thinking documentation. That's a biggie, at least it was for me, whether you're teaching kindergarten or high school.
That's right.
If they are aware that you are keeping up with stuff, to me it made a world of difference. They realize, oh, she knows what's going on. Because so many times you may hear a teacher say, the next time you do this, well, the next time doesn't come. In other words, you can, but if it's in black and white, I don't know if you emphasize it that much. To me, that was my experience with that.
Absolutely, and having that documentation, then when the teacher has to turn it over to an administrator, the parents already know, because that's one of the interventions is to make sure the parents know what behavior is occurring in the classroom, to try to get some buy-in from the parents to help us. There's a whole list of interventions that we've given the teachers to try to curb some of the behaviors. And we are not the only district that's dealing with kids coming back to school who have not been in school on a consistent basis for the last few years. And so we hear it from other districts. They're struggling too, but it's just going to take, getting the students back into that routine.
Now, what if you, like for instance, have a new teacher, which we have many new teachers, and they're not used to being in the classroom by themselves and all that. I mean, they have a problem with discipline, classroom management, because it's got to be addressed. You can't be doing all these interventions and letting the teacher just hang out there by herself. I think that it needs to be addressed as quick as possible.
Absolutely, and that's, by having a district instructional coach, we have someone who goes and works with the new teachers to help them. We did a training for the new teachers too on here's how to start the school year. Here's how to, have your expectations. Make sure that you teach those expectations to the students so that they know what's expected. overall, what we're seeing is a lot of improvement. Now, we still are seeing students who are really struggling, but it's not necessarily just bad behavior, it's struggling with transitions, struggling with other things that, you know, are flooding over into the school. And so in regular classroom situations, you know, we are seeing, because we taught the student the expectations, overall, Tier 1 behaviors have settled down a lot from last year. But we do have students that need that support through a counselor or through a behavior specialist, working with the student to try to teach them appropriate behaviors.
Who is the, I know the teachers have to do the interventions and they document the interventions. Do they turn it over to somebody else? And
They do. They turn those over to the MTSS specialist at their school.
they the one that gets, like, the parent
Yes.
contact? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the teachers contact the parents when the behavior happens.
Right.
But to set up a meeting, usually that is set up through the MTSS specialist.
What are we looking at as the time frame in the tier process before we move to the next level, or?
We didn't set a time frame. We set number of interventions. And so, like, if teachers are, you know, documenting these interventions, and the interventions have to be per behavior, because a child who throws a temper tantrum, that situation is different than a child who, you know, curls up and just refuses to do anything.
So how many how many?
We recommended 3 interventions for each specific behavior.
And if the intervention doesn't work, then it goes to the next level.
That's right. Then we start working with the behavior specialist to go in, do an assessment, an observation, and work toward putting a behavior plan in place for the student.
So you're probably looking at the maximum of 3 months, maybe 3 to 6 months.
I had a maximum, yeah, because right here at the beginning of school is when we see the most behaviors where students haven't quite learned all the rules. And so, you know, and they've come back from the summer, they've had a lot of freedom. And so then to go into that 1st grade classroom or that 4th grade classroom after you've been away all summer, it takes a little time to get those routines established. And so, you know, want to work through the education process of teaching the students the expectations, and then, you know, after you've had, say, 2 weeks to really teach them the expectations, then when you start seeing the behaviors and putting the interventions in place and it's not working, then we have to move to that next step.
So they have a lot on their plate.
They do. They do. No doubt about that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the MTSS review. We
Mr.
don't
Williams
need
is
to-
going to do that, and this is our workshop part in case you have any questions about what's in the actual student code of conduct.
Okay, back to the
Okay.
review.
Okay,
Do
sorry.
we not need, we don't need to make a motion on that?
I don't believe so.
No,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
that was the information only.
Okay, the next item, 5.9, is the Code of Student Conduct Review. Mr. Williams? Good evening.
Ms. Hill basically prefaced the changes that were made in the Code of Conduct as it relates to the MTSS process. The changes that we've made are student receives a referral after the interventions have been put in place, aside from those referrals that require immediate action. So if you have any questions
Well, you know, you hear about disrespect. For instance, if a student is cussing out a teacher, which they say, I've never had it happen to me, but, you know, I know it happens. Well, what do you do? I mean, you say, what's the repercussion? Or do you have to do an intervention for that? And what would the intervention be? Discussing, you know, it's not appropriate? And let it go at that, or?
Each case is different.
Yeah.
It depends. If you got a teacher, a student in front of a teacher right now, I mean, like grandstanding in front of a teacher and is really, really bold, that can elevate a student to a level 3, a tier 3 behavior right now. So there's some behaviors that will go straight to referral.
Are those listed someplace? The ones that'll go directly to level 2 or 3, or?
Yeah, most of the referrals are listed, classroom and outside of classroom. Are they particularly labeled outside of classroom interventions? I don't think so.
I can
Yeah.
see those two. Where we broke it down for the teachers, what were classroom, what was our classroom interventions and what should go.
Straight to
So
straight to the
they've got
principal.
all the information.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Thank you.
I should have said that.
Well, no, I wasn't sure how to, you know, I was just thinking about that because
Yeah, there's a list of behaviors.
some things demand attention
Right.
right now.
Right. Yeah, that would be one of them.
That'd be one of them.
So if there's any more questions on that?
You know, bullying is one of them things, you know, in society today that's caused us a lot. You know what I'm saying? Does that go to the intervention, bullying?
Bullying would go to an administrator. What we found was that a lot of students, parents, and new teachers had issues with what bullying really was. So we sent out some information to the teachers and to educate the students, sent some information out to the parents as to what constitutes bullying. That was the biggest issue because little Johnny looked at me funny and parents would call that bullying. That's not bullying. There has to be, you know, repeated efforts in that. So that was the first step in trying to curtail the bullying. But that would be investigated by an administrator or dean.
But in light of social media these days, back 15 years ago when you didn't have that,
Yeah.
bullying can be carried to a whole nother level with Facebook and texting and Instagram
I see what the first offense in here is bullying student to student. The first offense, mandatory parent conference, refer to MTSS 1 to 3 days ISS if sustained.
That depends on the grade level.
It depends on what the intervention thing is, right?
Well-
I mean, if it's a tier 3 or a tier 1 or a tier,
Bullying is one of those things that has to be investigated. So once the investigation concludes, that's when the referral process takes place. And then it depends on, you know, the consequence depends on the grade level.
yeah, I
And so
understand.
if it's investigation done and it found that it was bullying, then there's consequences, usually out-of-school suspension,
I got you.
followed by MTSS.
I just,
follow-up.
bullying can do a lot of damage, a lot of damage. But then, like you said, a lot of things people call bullying is not really bullying, I don't
Right.
think. But that's why you have to investigate it, I guess.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. I'm good.
Any more questions on that topic?
Does anyone have any other questions concerning the code of conduct?
I know it's a tough job. I know that.
Okay, if there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve the code of conduct?
We just had a
Or just a review?
workshop, because we vote on it next week,
Okay.
next time.
Are there any other questions? I mean, the thing I take away from it is that there's going to be a lot of interpretation by the administration of what what's happening and what's their view of it, their judgment.
We will be doing a lot of discussions with our staff on different items and different things in the code of conduct. And the more we talk about it, the more they give them time to talk about it, they'll be a lot more comfortable with it. But
Compared
a
to
lot of
years
it is-
ago where it was so cut and dry that if this happened and this happened, we don't really have that today. It's
But
more,
with mental health issues in,
Right.
you got to put that personal touch in there. You got to treat each case individually. You can't just lump everything in there because we don't know what kind of baggage the child is bringing with them. But that's another reason, going back to what Ms. Gibson said earlier, we've got to get them to document the interventions they've tried and different things they've done.
That was drilled in our head in Columbia County when I was over there, document everything, do a lot of documentation.
That's one of the big things we're trying to drill into their heads also. Please document after each incident what you've done, what you tried, so when we go further, because parents are very astute and they want to know, they want to go from 0 to 100, but we've got to show that we've done the processes necessary.
Is documentation, is that, what word I want to use? I mean, I know it's not hard, but, I mean, is that something that they?
It's a different behavior that they have to learn.
Yeah.
There's a couple places they can document it. Some teachers keep a notebook. There's a couple places in Sky where they can put documentation in. Depends on the teacher. But the documentation.
But they know how
documentation.
important that is, don't they?
Right. Because
We have told them
right, if you
multiple
get a student that
times.
comes up there out of the blue and nobody has seen any documentation on it, then it's hard to process a referral
Yeah,
when you don't know what the teacher has done.
I got you.
well, a good rule of thumb is if you don't document, then it didn't happen.
Sometimes that's the
I mean,
case.
if you don't have it documented, then there's no way you can prove that it's happened. So basically, it hasn't happened.
That's
Even if
true.
you did it, I mean.
Right.
Okay, are there any other questions concerning the Code of Student Conduct? If you have any other questions, you can bring them for the next meeting, and before we vote on it, we could see if you were to find one. That's a burning question. Okay, if there's no others, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Okay, 5.10, Testing and Student Record Specialist Job Description, Mr. Killingsworth.
Yes, sir. If you would, we have a job description that we have given y'all, basically outlining that of what a testing or student record specialist would consist of. The short version of this is we have a guidance counselor spot at Central. This will inadvertently tie back into the staffing allocation. And what I want to make sure is what we're asking is not to add an additional position. That is not what we're asking. What we're asking is have the flexibility to either have a guidance counselor or the testing student specialist, either or, based on what we're able to, our needs are and what we're able to field. The testing position that we have before you will allow us a little more flexibility for hiring, and as you know, the vast majority of what you see our guidance counselors doing now is mainly doing the bulk of testing and assessments and things of that nature. So it's still going to be doing some of those same type of duties, but it will allow us the ability to fill a spot and still stay in field, so to speak.
So this person would be over testing for Central?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is what our desire, our request would be.
I mean, I understand it's hard to find people that have guidance certification, but in today's world of progress monitoring 3 times a year, this is probably the most important position in the school, and the one, if a person messes it up, the one most likely that they could lose their license.
Yes, sir.
So it better be someone that knows what they're doing.
Yes, sir. And we also have, with all the added type of counseling groups, it gives us a little flexibility to help in that area and other facets. So this may help bridge the gap in both areas of need. But please make sure you remember, I'm not asking to add an additional position. It is we'll either have this or this, not both.
I mean, the reality of it, if you're the tester of the school, in all reality, you're probably not going to do much counseling because you're going to be worried about the testing, making up tests. I mean, we have students who are habitually truant, and if they're not there for that window, you're going to have to be finding them, making them up for those days and testing them. So I don't see the person doing any counseling. I think it's going to be total test coordinator with training the new teachers. If we have turnover, each progress monitoring, you're having to train them on how to do it. I just think it's a big job. I mean, the concern I have, is it's just a BS level. I mean, if you think someone could do that, but again, in knowing how large of a position that is, and what's all at stake for the school and for the person, again, I think it's a big job, probably one of the biggest ones at Central School versus a principal and assistant principal.
It can be done at a BS level.
We just need to make sure they're competent when we put them in there, because it could turn out in a bad way if they're not. I mean,
Trust me, my intention is not to put something in there and get beat over the head with it.
Well,
So, trust me, I would have to deal with it on the back end, so it'd be nice
I
to make sure
understand
we
that,
hire
but
the
I
right
also understand the reality of it.
Correct.
You put someone in there that you think they may know what they're doing, and it turns out to be, it goes off the...
train wreck.
Yeah, and suddenly you're having to answer to the state, and that person has suddenly been thrust into something where professional practice is here investigating them over what's happened, and it could just be a bad situation. I mean, I don't have an issue with it because you need someone at that school for that size to be in charge of testing. And you know, in reality, your principals and assistant principals can't do it. So somebody has to do this.
We would not put a beginning teacher there.
No.
Well, we could put someone there with 3 years of experience based on the qualifications.
Well, that's
We
a
will
minimum, but it doesn't mean.
Screen that
that's-
person very carefully, because we understand if that doesn't happen, then it falls back on us.
I mean, it's gonna fall back on somebody. I don't know who's gonna
We're
take
not
the
trying to
blame
put
for
any
it,
more work on
but
us.
somebody it'll fall on.
That it will. I'm sure I'll be one of them.
Well, no, it'll
Trust
be,
me, I don't-
unfortunately, it'll be the person who's got this job title is who the professional
Correct.
practice will come for. And maybe the principal and assistant. I don't know what the chain of command would be, but again, I don't have an issue with it. I just want to make sure that whoever goes there is competent to go in that position.
I agree with you.
Is there any other discussion concerning the job description? If there's no other discussion, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the testing student record specialist job description.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Okay, I just have one question. Who is doing this right now in the first progress monitoring? Who's been over?
We had a counselor, and she recently you just approved her to transfer in a different position.
So Ms. Kaufman.
Ms.
handled it
Kaufman
And she
did
did
it.
first.
very well.
Okay. So it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Williamson. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the job description of testing and student record specialist.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Carroll, do you want to do the next part too? Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Thank you, sir.
the next item is the staff and allocation plan. Mr. Killingsworth?
All right, on that one, there are a couple of revisions that, we are asking. As you can see on page 3, the testing coordinator, and I'll adjust the naming on the end, so that both correlate. That one is one that we're asking, and you can see it's gonna be a either or position, it's not gonna be a both. Page,
Our pages are not numbered.
yours is, I'm
Yeah.
that the
sorry,
bottom?
where you go
Page.
to the, when you
Is
go
that the
to the
bottom?
combination school, I don't know why this one pulled up that way. It is right up under the, on mine is right up under the guidance counselor. On your where it says the combination.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Then the next one you have is your high school. There's nothing
No changes there.
on that part. On the next page where it's the district personnel allocation, third from the bottom, you'll see bus monitors. Currently, we have 3 that are on there. What we are asking, based on the needs of what we're finding out, with some of our staffing, so to speak, is that we need to add an additional 3, which would be a total of 6. As you know, most of our, in the past, we have run ESE routes, or part of our ESE routes, in our vans or in the traverses. However, we're moving from that, putting them all either at least going or coming from campus on the school buses. That'll deal with the funding factor. But we end up needing 3 more additional monitors due to some numbers that have come in to be able to cover the needs required on that particular aspect. So that's what that one is. Right now, it doesn't look like there's anything on the next few that we're gonna need to adjust. The last page that I would ask you to look at would be on the ESSER 2 grant-funded positions. And that is, down at the bottom, is the Dean of Students for the central school on the middle school side that would be paid out of the ESSER funds. If memory serves me correct, I believe that might
That's it.
be all that we're requesting at this time.
Just observation for the board members who will be here after November. And I feel you should take caution with this. This is 35.5 positions that are being funded out of ESSER. And after June the 30th, July the 1st of 2023, this will end. And at that point,
And the money will end.
the money will end, and that's 35.5 positions. That's a lot of positions, several $1 million worth of positions, I would venture to guess. So
Mr.
that
Killingsworth, you
should
know
really-
which he's talking about, the positions.
Correct, and I mean, there's still some that are not, but a large portion are paraprofessionals that you're seeing in that.
But still, it's coming,
However-
it's not coming out of the general fund.
Absolutely, and then we will have to correct the our staffing table, if that would be a nice way to say it.
Well, do they realize, these people that you're hiring, this is not going to be a long-term proposition? Let's put it this
When
way.
we're
Yes, when we're
advertising, we state on the advertisement is grant funded in the life of the grant.
Right.
But historically, when it ends, we feel sorry for people, and we want to try to keep them on. And I'm just saying, if that is tried, I don't know how the district could sustain that. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Well, I think they were made aware of it.
District has been quite aware of that, and we understand what jamming has put us in before, and that's why we're making a special effort. Okay, when we advertise these positions, we know they're grant positions, and when we hire them, we let them know they're grant positions.
I know we've done that, but I'm just saying that when it comes down to it, people will start jockeying for us to keep them on, and everyone sitting at this table knows that'll happen, and if you don't hold strong to it, then you're gonna put yourself upside down with the budget. Just in saying, I mean, because a lot of these, the STEM coach, the MTSS coach, all these coaches were people who have been added. Instructional coach. But again, that's just something that needs to be in the back of your mind concerning this. I mean, it was great that we got the ESSER 2. It helped us out in that time, but Ms. Rainick has said from the beginning, when this ends, it ends.
Correct.
And that's just something we need to be vigilant about.
I'd like to have a list of those 35.5 positions.
It's on the last, if you scroll down to the very last, it's 11. It's the last one.
Oh,
The bus
I was
monitor,
looking at
the
Those
extra
are the
bus.
part-time.
Yeah, but that wouldn't, I mean, they're not, are they ESSER funded?
Those are looking.
No, those are not ESSER funds.
No, but those are based on needs of our kids.
Oh, I know.
So
I
it's
wouldn't
not
drive
like
a
we're
bus,
just
none of them would have
rolling one out there because we want to stick 2 people on that bus. There's a reason.
Right.
There's
Oh,
2
I know.
on there, there's a reason.
Yes, sir.
And I mean,
It's
A
gonna
lot
get to
of
where
that
all of them
dictates
gonna
what
have to
we
have
do.
one.
I agree with you.
I'm telling
you.
I'm just telling you, I
You
know.
know,
I mean, try to get the bus.
Speaking to
It's
the
hard
blind.
enough to drive one. You mess up one time and it's over looking in the mirror back there. I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the staff and allocation plan, or any questions from Mr. Killingsworth?
I move to accept the allocation plan.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the staff and allocation plan. 5.12
Thank
is
you.
thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Ms.
Killingsworth.
Killenworth.
Is Ms. Joseph, we have so many subcontractors in the district on agenda review. It's just contract after contract we're looking at. And back 25 years ago, the district, I think, had a contract, but somewhere over the years, because when I first came to work with the district, Ms. Fenneman gave a contract to me, but somewhere over the 5 different superintendents or 6 different superintendents, we've got out of that. And this is a contract, I think, with Mr. Reeves's guidance, is a standard contract that will be used for all subcontractors, therapists, mental health providers, any other person who may be contracting with the district, where everything is spelled out of what, in an organized way, where we're not having to guess, well, is this in there, is that in there, Mr. Reeves having to look at it. We would plug in the contractor's information into the appropriate areas and
then
go from there.
You'd attach a scope of work that would say what they were gonna do. And this is a copy of a contract that, from the University of West Florida's General Counsel Office that they use. And so we took that and modified it to fit our needs.
It's very thorough.
And just as Mr. Chair has noted, we start one thing and you won't do anything, and we're trying to bring some uniformity to the things that we do, and this is one way we do it. We have a standard contract And Mr. Reeves does not have to, every time we get a contract, have to review it because it's the standard, he's already reviewed the contract.
We have contracts for behavioralists, ABA people,
everyone has a different
therapists. Everyone's
contract.
having a different
Moving forward,
contract.
even to tonight's agenda, you've been presented with 2 or 3 different contracts, but moving forward, you'll have one standard contract that we'll use.
I like that.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves, for getting this for us. Is there a motion to approve the generic contract for the future use within the district?
I make a motion to approve the future generic contract.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
I like it. Really good.
Thank you.
If there's no discussion, all those in favor of the generic contract, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the generic contract. 5.13 is a memorandum of understanding with Madison County Central School, Pinetta Elementary School, and Greenville Elementary School with the MCEA concerning 2 additional planning hours for Greenville Elementary and Pinetta Elementary, and 3 additional planning hours per week for Madison County Central. So that would be 2 additional for Pinetta Elementary and Greenville Elementary per week, and 3 additional planning hours per week for Madison County Central School
And this is paid for out of the UNICEF grant they received.
for school improvement. Okay, is there any questions concerning the memorandum of understanding? If there's none, is there a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Madison County Central, Pinetta Elementary, Greenville Elementary with the Madison County Educational Association?
Okay, I move to approve the memorandum of understanding with Madison Central School, Pinetta, and Greenville Elementaries.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor of the memorandum of understanding with Madison County Central, Pinetta Elementary, and Greenville Elementary with the Madison County Educational Association, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the memorandum of understanding. Okay, that concludes the items of individual consideration. The next item is superintendent items. Ms. Joseph?
Mr. Chair, a couple of things I want to bring forth. And superintendent's items, I have an attachment there. And what we've done, we have written up our community education program, which we have with students. The students that's at Bridge, to keep from expelling a child. Sometimes they can't deal with that day-to-day interaction with students. And we have a community ed, meaning they continue their education online, but we allow for them to come in 1 day a week, one after school for an hour or 2 to have that face-to-face review if they need it. And so that's the documentation you see for that. We've been doing that for several years, and it's just, we finally put it in writing. Okay, the next thing I want to pass down is this information for you only. These are our student counts as of today at the various school sites. Okay, as of today, Lee has an enrollment of 203 students. Pinetta has an enrollment of 144 students. Greenville has an enrollment of 107 students. Central School has an enrollment of 854 students. And the high school has an enrollment of 478 students. And we have a total of 1,786 students present enrolled in our schools. Something to note is if you will look at the 7th grade enrollment for 117 students, this is one reason we have to keep watch of our FTE and our funds, because that 117 students going to move up to 8th grade, and through attrition we usually lose a few. Now, if they have 117 and seventh grade, when you get down to 12th grade, you can surmise about how many students there'll be. So we need to be very mindful because we're gonna have major decline in enrollment.
So based upon these numbers, at the last meeting on 810, we were saying the live body count was 1628, and this is 1786. So that's, and we were saying then we were around 100 less. So this is putting us at 161 to the positive. So is that saying we're 61 over?
So, the last number were actual live bodies on campus that day. This is enrollment because pretty much everybody's come to school now, and so, they may not have been there today, but they are enrolled and are regularly coming.
That would be this would be someone that we could draw an FTE for.
Yes, yes.
So
that's
it's
where we are.
161 more than what we had.
We had this number enrolled at the end of the year, but not everybody was.
It showed up. So this is what, so we're not short 100 kids?
No.
Okay. That's good to know.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And it has to do with numbers, but it
Okay.
don't. On the sixth grade, how many of the sixth graders from Greenville or Lee or Pinetta decided to come to Madison? Any?
There may have been 2 or 3.
I know it said Greenville had 14. I know they had like 18 last year or 19.
Some of them just, they've gone up.
Go to other places, yeah. I got you. Okay.
I think we had 3 out of zone transfer requests for 6th grade.
I got you.
Okay, the last thing, one thing that you have asked and we said that we were going to do, we were going to start letting schools do presentations to the board. And so starting in October at the second meeting, I've got a different school scheduled to come do a presentation for the board.
That'll be nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, one other thing. Trim is upon us, AFR on next Monday, September 12th. We need to schedule a meeting for AFR. That's our final meeting. So right now you need to schedule what time you want this meeting. It's required.
Is just 5 o'clock, is that okay with people or?
It's okay with me.
What day is September the 12th?
It's on Monday.
Next Monday.
I'm good with 5.
5 is okay with you, Ms. Williams?
It's just a trim, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a,
Summary report.
Oh, okay.
That's going to stay.
So next Monday at 5 will be the AFR trim meeting. Okay? That's good.
okay,
Is that all?
that's all today, okay?
Hey, good job.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reeves, anything for the board?
No, sir. Unless
Okay.
you have questions of me.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Reeves? No questions? Ms. Williamson?
No,
Okay, Mr. Carroll?
I don't have anything.
Ms. Gibson?
I don't think I have anything today.
Ms. Bell?
I would just like to say that I appreciate our teachers and all the hard work they've done for the beginning of the year, starting our year out with a bang, and just keep moving forward.
Okay. I too want to wish everyone back, and we've made it through the first progress monitoring, and hopefully that went well. I want to thank, as a board member, Representative Allison Tant, who's our representative for Madison County. She made a donation of $2,500 to the Madison County Educational Foundation through her funds for her campaign when she didn't have to run again, and she didn't have to do that, and that was awful kind of her and generous. And I just want to thank her as the chairman for doing that for our district and our foundation, because $2,500 goes a long way in a small district with many grants and a lot that the foundation can use. So I just want to thank her and thank all of our representatives. Ms. Gibson and I was the legislative liaison, but in going there to the Capitol, Senator Osley has been nothing but gracious every time we've gone. Representative Jason Schoaf has also, and now Ms. Tant has done this act of kindness. And I just want to appreciate my years of going there, of how generous they've been and giving up their time, and always so welcoming when we would go to their offices. No matter how busy they were, just very cordial and welcoming. And again, they do what's best for the district, no matter what party they are. I mean, that truly, I think, is nonpartisan, their actions and how they operate. So I just want to thank them and thank Ms. Tant for what she did in her $2,500 donation to our district and to other entities here in Madison County that all of our students benefit from in some way or another. She gave to many other nonprofits here in the county, the $2,500 also. So just appreciate her and what she's doing as the legislature. And that's all I have, Ms. Joseph.
One other thing, I forgot, we will be sending out progress reports tomorrow. All schools are scheduled to send out progress reports. Thursday on the 9th. I was rushing this along, wasn't I?
Yeah, time is clicking, so
Okay.
You get this age.
we've been in school 4 weeks, so
4.5 weeks.
4.5 weeks, so people should be learning the routines by now. As Ms. Hill said, the routines should be down.
Yep.
And the tiers should be starting. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 should be in place by this time.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I made the motion to adjourn this meeting.
It's been properly moved by Mrs. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Meeting is adjourned. Have a great night.
When we